Tahrir Square is getting a makeover ahead of the one-year anniversary of Iraq's protest movement. But instead of symbols of resistance, artists paint portraits of its victims.
The martyrs' families asked us to paint the images of their sons to commemorate their deaths on the anniversary on October 1st.
Today's empty square is a far cry from the crowds that commandeered the streets of Baghdad and other southern cities in October 2019. The protests were unprecedented in many ways. Nationalist, non-sectarian and non-partisan, the movement drew Iraqis from all walks of life, uniting them in their demands for systemic political change. They forced the then Prime Minister Adel Abdel Mahdi to step down, but the parties that brought him to power remained, determined to preserve the status quo. Security forces and armed groups responded with force, killing more than 600 people, according to rights groups, and injuring thousands. 24-year-old Ali KAREEM was one of them. His father shows us an X-ray of the tear gas canister that killed him. It was shot directly at his head.
He protested for a noble cause, for a homeland. He did not protest for his own interests. He protested for all his friends, for the rights of the poor, needy people.
The family is entitled to government compensation. They submitted a request 10 months ago and are waiting for a response. But what they really want is accountability.
I wish to see the trial of the killers. The protesters should not return home before getting the rights of the martyrs.
Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi has made justice for protesters a priority. His government has so far identified 560 demonstrators who were killed and has begun making payments to their families. The more challenging task will be to put an end to what many say is a culture of impunity and rein in the groups responsible for the violence. When the so-called October Revolution first began a year ago, the most popular slogan was, "We want a homeland," meaning a well-governed country where people could live in dignity. 12 months on, many protesters appear to have abandoned that goal. Now, their main demand is for those responsible to be held to account for the hundreds of lives lost. Simona, Foltyn, Al Jazeera, Baghdad.